So we're going back on stage again. We're going to be live in the Cork Opera House on March 30th for a very special event, which is going to form part of the Cork Podcast Festival. Our show is called Look Who's Talking. It's going to be all about those criminals. How do we get them into studio? How do we get up close and personal with them? And what have they got to say when the cameras are off? So Cork Opera House, tickets from corkpodcastfestival.ie, 30th of March. See you there.
I was actually going to say, is that the coffee I bought you?
Did you try and poison me, did you? Because of my increasing popularity, and you felt I have to be taken out before I rise.
Sorry. What increasing popularity is this?
Yeah, my mother and my sisters, everybody, loads of people being swamped.
I'm not surprised you choked on it, because it's like a bloody bucket of coffee. I mean, how can you drink so much in one go?
Because it was given to me as a gift by you.
I know, but you wanted it. You like your large cappuccino with a little chocolate on the top of it.
Look, I'm addicted. That's the answer.
You've been doing well, though.
I have been doing well. I've been cutting back, you know.
Yeah. I was told not to get you coffee.
No, because
you're I don't know what. Is it like one of these rules that you have for yourself?
It's one of my rules, yeah.
One of your rules. Anything pleasurable to you just cut out of your life.
Gradually, slowly but steadily. You know?
Still on the skinny fries, though.
Look, exactly. My last will be my chips at lunchtime.
Grave.
My lunchtime chips.
One hand on a skinny fry.
All gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Smoking, drinking and everything else.
All of us.
Down now to a few skinny fries at lunch.
Do you still get the Chinese at the weekend?
Sometimes if I go crazy, you know. I actually got an email from somebody saying, "Oh, you must do this and that." I was saying, I literally never go anywhere with anyone.
Yeah, are you like that guy you were telling me about?
Which guy?
From that series.
Which one? Oh, Larry David. Yeah, I'm totally like Larry David.
Are you?
Yeah.
You just want to spend less and less time with other human beings.
Basically, if at all possible, except for my kids and stuff. That's about it.
There's a list.
There's a short list, Nicola. I'll go for lunch with you and stuff like that. But
yeah. Do you get fed up with me talking to you?
Not really, no, not really.
It's funny because you are actually quite sociable, even though you think of yourself as not being sociable.
I have a horror of small talk, so I don't mind big talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We do plenty
of big talk, but it's, small talk is my...
Well, I think everyone has a bit of a horror of that, do they not?
No, you waffle on to anybody, would you not?
I can bang on, yeah.
You would bang on to anybody about anything.
I always have a feeling I have to fill the air with noise or something, or I do feel very, if people, but when someone doesn't talk, I just never stop.
No, but you see, I've only one mode, which is like basically talking like this. Yeah. So I can't, I get, you're very,
I've seen you small talky with people as well.
Oh, I probably only it, but I do.
Oh, you can stand your own.
I can.
Good chat about the weather or anything like that.
Yeah, but I always veer into my own mode, which is to sort of make inappropriate jokes and say outrageous things and get really deep at inappropriate moments.
I was going to say to you, St. Patrick's Day is actually, an unlucky one for the Kinahans. Yeah. Wasn't it St. Patrick's Day that Daniel Kinahan was going to release that famed interview that sits somewhere on the cutting room floor, the 3-hour-long podcast he did with James English, which never was released because, of course, before he got to,
have his moment,
the US Treasury came and sanctioned him, and that was the end of that. Now, we don't really know, we never got to the bottom of exactly why that podcast wasn't released, but it was around that time. And now we're suggesting that this St. Patrick's Day, now we believe that Sean McGovern could be extradited back to Ireland by St. Patrick's Day. We're going to put our little careers and our
your career,
bit of a reputation.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss when it suits you.
Yeah, it does. I mean, let's describe what we do know.
Yes. So, and explain why we believe that this is.
So, Sean McGovern obviously was arrested last October.
Yeah.
A high-profile arrest. Interpol had issued a warrant, and at that point, when you're arrested in Dubai, basically a clock starts ticking, where you, in theory, I think have...
Quite frightening.
Yeah, where you basically have it's something like, let's just say it's sort of 30 days is the figure given. Now, there are caveats in that. So there are hearings. So in order to appeal against an extradition warrant, there's a number of grounds under Dubai. We think Dubai doesn't have a legal system. I mean, it does certainly have a legal system.
Yeah.
However serious it is, it's as in there's a political interference. Nobody is under any illusions about that. But you can appeal on a number of bases. The primary one being that this issue of dual criminality. So, and is an offence in the Dubai, also an offence in Ireland. They have to match.
And just to say, I suppose, that the offence that, Sean McGovern is wanted for here is murder.
Yes.
The murder of Noel Duckegg Kerwin, which I don't believe there is a territory across the world where murder isn't an offence, a criminal offence.
So that's the dual criminality, and that's probably the hardest one for some of the gangland criminals who may be charged with conspiracies or something like that may not exist as an offence in Dubai. There's also there's you can appeal on errors in due process. So that a lot of that would be about documentation. Does that all match up? Are you being given a fair chance? There's also human rights violations. Are you subject to religious persecution in the country that's seeking you? Which is obviously not going to be the case with Sean McGovern. However, it could be an issue if somebody had converted to Islam, for example. If you were living in Dubai, they may say you wouldn't get a fair trial. So all of those things, you're allowed appeal on those grounds. And we know that there's hearings go ahead.
Well, they're not public.
No, but they are held in a specific court, in the UAE Federal Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Now, those hearings are not public. We believe they're held on video hearings, so they're not even sitting in a court. Not only are they not public, but you're not allowed reporting them in Dubai.
Because there's huge reporting restrictions. You're
huge
not allowed,
reporting
similar
restrictions.
to Monaco, I don't think you're allowed to take photographs of people.
You're not,
or anything.
which is something that people have always said. Why aren't there pictures coming out of Daniel Kinahan over there?
Because it's illegal to do that. I mean, it's the same in Monaco. You can get arrested.
Yeah, so it's illegal to take pictures without the person's permission. So these hearings have been going on, right? We believe, and that
that is delayed, and he's gone past that 30-day limit, and the reason being that he has challenged and has put up a series of legal challenges. But let me tell you something else, because it's just struck me. Carl Fellstrom, who's a journalist based in the UK, and he had done a lot of work on a guy called Robert Dawes, who was one of the first of the UK.
Yeah, I mean a major league criminal in European standards. Yeah.
And he had been one of the first sort of significant guys who sort of washed into Dubai as the building boom had begun. Yeah. And he found himself wanted by French, I think, at the time. And he bounced a check. Yeah. And the reason he did that was because if you bounce a check in Dubai, no matter where you're wanted in the world or whatever, you have to spend, say, 2 years in prison there. Yeah. And there was other methods he had at the time. Now, that law has changed. If you're listening, Daniel Kinahan, don't be bouncing checks, because I've given you a bit of advice. Some of those laws have changed, apparently, and have been tightened up. But there's all these other sort of delay tactics.
Oh, there is. And I mean, I think the ultimate one is, as far as I know, the naturalization. So if you become a citizen of Dubai, I don't think you can be extradited effectively.
And where does that leave Daniel Kinahan?
Well, he's not. He mustn't be a citizen of Dubai. But if he certainly has a work permit, he certainly has.
Well, I mean, it's a long time since we saw that work permit.
Yeah, but
he has converted, we believe, to Islam.
Well, that's been said. So there are other complicated things that can be put into place.
You have to imagine that he would have applied for citizenship at this stage of the game.
Well, look,
if that's a simple protection.
Well, I think it is a simple protection. I mean, maybe it can still happen, but certainly it would be very different if you were a citizen. Now, the immigration laws in Dubai are extremely strict. They obviously take people in to work there, to live there, but making people citizens is a whole other matter. So Sean McGovern, we believe, has gone through a number of these technical appeals. They hasn't succeeded. In theory now, he's facing this sort of 30-day because the 30 days kind of kicks in and a decision has to be made, is what is said. It doesn't mean that it's going to go one way or the other, but a decision, we should be getting to the point at which a decision will be made. We believe he was in court earlier this month, unsuccessful in one of these technical appeals. So there may be a decision and he may be back.
Yeah.
Now, he may not be because it is a bit of an obscure process.
It is an obscure process, but we're as confident as we possibly can be, and we have spoken to sources of ours who have sort of are confident too that is the case. And you know what? That will be a game changer if that happens.
Yeah.
And one way or another, I think we're going to get a decision. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen very shortly.
Yes. Now, simultaneous to this, our own, that treaty has been signed with the UAE and the government. Obviously, Helen McEntee signed when she was Minister for Justice. She's no longer the Minister for Justice. Jim O'Callaghan is there. So that treaty has been signed, but it has to be ratified by the Dáil.
Yeah.
That's due to happen. It could happen in the next week or so. That's very, very imminent. Whether Sean McGovern, once that happens, the process of extradition is going to be much more straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, people are still going to be allowed resist extradition, obviously, but it's just going to be really, really simplified. When that comes
Sean
into
McGovern,
place.
okay, there's all that.
Right?
Yeah. That's all the sort of the official dumb and the whatever. But behind the scenes, the reason that Kinahan, McGovern, Bernard Clancy and others are all out there living freely is because they have a protection. And it's because of Daniel Kinahan's relationship with what I'll call a bratty royal.
Yeah.
But it's with a royal.
Yeah.
And that has given him protection from anything.
We've seen various people, drug lords, extradited to the UK. Various, obviously,
Raphael Imperiale is back in Italy singing like a canary.
Ridwan
Taghi came back. I mean, I know there's a big long list from various countries of people out in Dubai, but Kinahan is the last man standing of the European super cartel. And while he has gone to ground as such, he's not quite as confident as he once was when he was posing for social media postings and being photographed with celebrity boxers and all the rest of it. He's still living quite confidently out there.
Yeah.
And, nothing's going to happen for him until Sean McGovern. McGovern's like his guinea pig, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he will be in the background throwing McGovern what crumbs he can because he doesn't want him back because he's next.
He's next. And of course, Sean McGovern, his role in the Kinahan Cartel has been described really a couple of times now. Initially, of course, it was described by the US Treasury, who said he is Daniel Kinahan's advisor and closest confidant. Evidence indicates that all dealings with Daniel Kinahan go through Sean McGovern, who managed communications on behalf of Daniel Kinahan. And so what they're basically saying is that he arranged multi-kilo shipments of cocaine, but really that Sean McGovern became, Daniel Kinahan in his criminal enterprises would only deal with Sean McGovern, and Sean McGovern then would deal with everybody else. So that was a one single link.
He became incredibly powerful, Sean McGovern, within the organisation, from somebody who was, here in Dublin working with Liam Byrne, running a car business down a laneway in Crumlin with him. And, as soon as the feud kicked off, he stepped up and he took a very hands-on role, or so the state believe, including a hands-on role in the murder of Noel Duckegg Kerwin, the monk's friend. And he ended up in the aftermath of that murder leaving the country and getting safe passage directly into Dubai and right beside Kinahan.
Yeah.
So a relationship was being built, obviously, there in the background. What is it that McGovern has that Kinahan has just been drawn to him and to nobody else? Is he a yes man?
Well, he may well be somebody with a bit of managerial cop on. He certainly wasn't known as being a sort of hot-headed, showy kind of person.
Well, except for, there is a suggestion that as soon as the killing started, that McGovern was a very cold-hearted director. The Gardaí would suspect that he was with Kinahan deciding who lived and who died.
Yeah, but taking orders ultimately. And
giving them.
well, taking Kinahan's orders and distributing those orders to others. And I mean, that's what is believed. So I suppose Kinahan looked after him, put him up in a fancy apartment that he himself had lived in previously, right on, literally in one of the most expensive real estate areas in the whole world. Looked after him. But obviously, if McGovern is back, nobody knows more about the Kinahan Cartel than Sean McGovern. And that no matter what, no matter how much you trust somebody, that poses a risk.
Yeah.
It's probably the case that Kinahan has given him the full backing through this process. But if you had to be a betting person, given the treaties being signed, given the wave of publicity that surrounds the Kinahan's existence in Dubai, every single time anybody writes about money laundering and that in that Gulf state, Daniel Kinahan gets a mention. I just don't think that having the support of a bratty royal will negate the desire to appear to be cleaning the place up.
I hope you're right.
But we never know.
And it's a long, long time coming. It's a long time since 2016, since it all began, really. And before that, it's quite extraordinary that if you bring yourself all the way back to those very early days, then Oliver Bond, when you had Daniel Kinahan, getting the father's drugs, I suppose, in from Amsterdam. And he wouldn't even smoke the cannabis. He'd get other people to try it for him. But was nice, was liked.
Yeah.
He was really liked. Yeah. He was a guy that sort of hung around with a group of local lads and lived with his mother.
Yeah.
Who was liked.
Yeah.
And a hardworking woman by all accounts, a cleaning lady, and who tried to steer the boys away from their, by then, famous father. Like, when you think of that, how many kids, I suppose, or teenagers start that way, albeit he had the silver spoon from Christy Kinahan Sr. He had that to inherit. But they all started on the streets and, down, which is, some locals will describe their own neighbourhood down there as like a drug supermarket. To where he's got is amazing. Always remaining one step ahead of the law, always knowing when to flee. Like, we were working on documents for the MTK at that point. Jim was once MGM. I can't remember which it was at the time. It was on its way to Dubai, and we are finding this trail, this paper trail, which brings us out to Ras Al Khaimah. This is back in 2016, just in the immediate aftermath of the feud. And our paper trail brings us to Ras Al Khaimah, which is a free trade zone in the Emirates. And there it stops because we can't get access to any more papers. But we do know that the gym has moved its intellectual rights there. And it's looking, are they headed there?
Yeah.
And a couple of days later, the boots kick in the door of that gym. It's raided. And where are they gone? The Kinahans are gone.
Yeah.
The two brothers are gone. Their few weeks was all it was, or even days. Did they know they were coming for them then? It's very coincidental. They had upped sticks and left and gone out to Dubai and never came back to Europe. No. Again, now I believe
if you look at while they were doing all that, and
Christopher Jr. did go back to the UK for meetings with who knows, but
and Christy Sr. may have
travelled as well on false passports or whatever. But Daniel Kinahan never came back anywhere near Europe.
So amazingly, while building all that criminal cartel, and Daniel Kinahan became the primary mover of that, certainly in the later years ahead of his father. He was also building, a hugely successful sporting enterprise.
Yeah.
I mean, it is incredible.
Yeah.
And must have taken incredible talent, strength of personality, vision, all of that. Of course, the other side to that is there's a
funded with
criminality and a wake of dead bodies and, directly or indirectly in his wake. But no doubt, not everybody could do it.
No, but I think if you have money, you can do a lot.
Well,
you can buy things with money.
You can, but
you can buy loyalty, but you can also, within the sporting arena, you can buy stars. You can buy, players perhaps in football or whatever that are going to make you a winner.
possibly, but there's the history of Premier League football clubs has been taken over by rich men who've absolutely made a shambles of it. I'm not saying Daniel Kinahan is, but I mean, it is an incredible story. But of course, every they ordered many murders, and even if you look past that, the people that they paid, that they supplied drugs to, ordered many. There's a waves of violence to enforce that world that goes all the way back to, kids being stabbed for owing 50 or 100 quid. It's violence the whole way up the line. So, but look, still an incredible tale. I mean,
so are you going to put your house on McGovern being back on Paddy's Day?
I'll go off the skinny chips if he's not, right.
I'll put my garden shed on it.
Go off,
because I'm always sort of concerned.
I'll give up the skinny chips.
Look, fingers crossed we're correct on this, and we have been known to be correct sometimes.
Yeah,
we've also known to be slightly wrong, but one way or another, if we miss that deadline, hopefully he'll be.
I think
he will.
Yeah, I think a decision will be reached. I think the momentum is in one direction, and when you hear
this is a political thing, and this is the Emirates wanting to make, to reach out a hand of friendship into Ireland and therefore onwards into Europe and Europol and all the rest of it, and cleaning them up. Paddy's Day would make sense because it would be a big statement, wouldn't it?
It would, and. Look, it's funny when you talk to other people in politics or other areas, they do seem quite confident. I mean, quietly confident, I would say, rather than, I do think they believe he will.
Yeah, they do. No, there's no doubt about it. It's just sometimes you just, you go,
who knows?
Who knows when? Right. Well, look, we'll return to this. Let's come back on Paddy's Day and see where we're at. What did you say you do? Give up
the skinny fries?
No, I don't want you to give up any more. Okay. It'd be a total pain in the arse if you give up any more. You need a little bit of joy in your life.
Okay.
Thank you. Now.
Robbie Lawler was out of control.
This is Double Cross, the murder of Robbie Lawler.
It was going to be an all-out war with him in the middle of it.
A Crime World special investigation podcast based on my new book, Web of Betrayal, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Nicola Tallant and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.